So how to actually set up for your squat. I'm taking it back to basics today and showing you how to actually set up a barbell properly in the racks. Too often I'm seeing people having to go on their tippy toes to unrack. If you have a heavy weight on your back, that's just going to end in trouble. So I'm just going to show you some basic tips on how to properly set up for your height and for the type of squat that you're performing. So when you're setting up the hooks on the squat rack, you want the bar to be sitting at about the start of your armpit, basically. So where that armpit crease is, that is where you want the bar to be sitting, because that is where it's going to be placed on your back. Hence, you can just stand up and just walk out without having to go into your tippy toes. So that is way too high for me, because to come out, I was having to lift up onto my tippy toes. You can imagine if you had 100 kilos on there, you do not want to be doing a calf raise to get yourself back in the rack. So aiming for the top of your armpit joint. And just a tip as well, it's always better to be too low than too high. It's much safer to squat, push up the bar to walk out and to come forward, as opposed to having to again try and get up and over. So under the bar, that's roughly where my armpit joint starts. And I'm easily able to walk in and walk out of the squat rack. So another tip, how close you should have your hands together on the bar. This does depend what type of squat you're doing and how much range you have through your shoulder joint. However, the closer that you can go, the tighter you can remain under the bar. So have a play around with your distance apart. Use the knurling on the bar as a guide and remember where you place your hands. So through practice, I know that mine are just literally a little bit further than shoulder width apart. So that just comes with practice and practice. So have a play around with the setup, change the hooks, starting at the top of your armpit line, and hands, again, play around with the range that you have through your shoulder joint, but you want to stay tight. You want to feel your upper back muscles working. And that is how to properly set up for your back squat.